Hey guys, Chaos Legend here. So I've got a couple more of these budget constructed, crap card constructed decks. I've been calling it C3POS lately, like C3PO from Star Wars, C3 for crap card constructed, the 3 C's, and then PO for C3PO, and then POS for, piece of... Right? Anyway, so here's my LightningSlide Lightning Rift deck. It's actually the cheapest deck I've built so far, and it's pretty fun. I think it's like in the $2.60, yeah, $2.65, or 2 ticks and 65, 2.65 ticks. So this deck's pretty cool. It works really well. It's got a nice engine. A lot of the cards that you would want for the deck are legal. I'm smoking my hookah here. So if you hear that, I'm not smoking a bong. I've got drug tests from for school, clinical. The hospitals want you to have them. Anyway, not that I look down on anybody who does. California's thinking about legalizing anyway. That's where I live. So we've got 4 Drifting Meadow. It's the only cycling land that's legal. Then we've got 6 forests, 3 mountains, 3 plains. Got a foil of all the Texas Zendikar lands in my collection for that. 3 Groll turf. Lets you pick up the Drifting Meadow later on and cycle it if you need to. And just gives you a little more quality, density, card advantage. Let's see, so I've also got 4 Spark Spray. It's good against a lot of the decks just to be able to kill their one toughness guys, and then it cycles for 1 red. So that's really nice. Edge of Autumn is pretty insane in this deck. So Edge of Autumn is colorless and a green. If you control 4 or fewer lands, you get to search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library. And then it has cycling, you can sack a land. So early it's rampant growth, which is pretty good for this deck because you want to build up your mana quickly, because that fuels your engine. You just want a lot of mana. And then later on, once you have all your mana, you can just sack a land, and it's a free cycle at that point, and then that leaves mana open for other things. So the card's really good for the deck. And then it works really well with Groll Turf, because then you can have 5 mana, but still only 4 lands. So you can continue to do that later and kind of control that. It runs 3 lulls, which is just a fog effect basically. Cycles for 2. So that's pretty good. 4 Lightning Rift, which is one of the main points of the deck, obviously. Colorless and red enchantments. Whenever any player cycles a card, you can pay 1 to do 2 to a creature or player. So it's kind of nice because you can do it with your opponent's cycling cards if they have any. Pretty insane. It's going to be your win condition generally. Although you can win in other ways for sure. 4 Shimmering Barriers. It's 2 for a 1/3 defender for strike. And it's just really good because it has cycling 2, and it just stops a lot of aggressive cards. This is probably one of the best of the decks I have against the aggro decks, because it runs the main deck Spark Sprays, the main deck Shimmering Barriers, the main deck Lulls, and then 4 main deck Renewed Faith, which was always a good card in the cycling decks. Cycles for a colorless and a white, and when you cycle it you gain 2 life, so even if you're not casting it, it gives you something extra, and then it's still just 2 mana cycling. And then if you need to hard cast it, gain 6 life can be pretty good sometimes. Can definitely save you when you would have lost otherwise. 4 Astral Slide, because it's really good just to, bounce their creature until end of turn, so it can't attack you. Or it combos with Farhaven Elf here, or Kozilek's Predator. So you get a land with Farhaven Elf, you slide it, you get another land, and you just build up the mana base of your deck, thin it out, and then at that point you can just start kind of going off. Kozilek's Predator is obviously really good at just stopping 3 creatures, and then once again you can slide it and just build up a bunch of tokens. Gives you that extra mana if you need it, or it's just a bunch of blockers, right? Got 2 Slice and Dices main, just because it's a nice wrath effect when it cycles. Sometimes against merfolk it's kind of nice because you can cycle it and they can't Curse Catcher it or Force Spike it, and then it just kills all their 1 toughness guys if they don't have a 3 toughness guy out yet, or a lord out yet. 3 Pale Recluse, which has the forced cycling and plane cycling, so it lets you get your lands, and then it's a pretty big wall later. It's got the reach, which is nice, and then it survives Slice and Dice. 4 Krosan Tusker, because Krosan Tusker has always been amazing in cycling decks, and it always got a lot of play even in non-cycling decks when it was in standard, even extended. And then it runs 1 Endless Swarm, which is pretty cool. So it's 8 mana, epic, and what the epic ability said was once you cast this spell, or once you resolve this spell, so if they counter it, it doesn't happen, but if you resolve this spell, you can't cast any other spells for the rest of the game, and this spell is cast every turn on your upkeep. It's kind of like super rebound, right? And since your whole deck works on cycling, which is an ability, not a spell, once you have a Lightning Rift and an Astral Slide out, or multiples, you don't really have to cast anything anymore, so this card's drawback is not really a drawback. Then it makes a 1/1 snake token for every creature, or every card in your hand, so hopefully you're making 5 to 7 tokens every turn. You can definitely win the game with an army of tokens. Sideboard is 1 of each of the relevant runes of protection, so since they all cycle from Urza's block. So Rune of Protection green, red, white, artifact, blue, black, and blue. So you can usually find these somewhat quickly because you're cycling, right? And you can just cycle them away, and there's just not space in the sideboard for 2 of each or anything. And then Boil is stupid. I didn't notice before that Boiling Seas was sorcery and Boil was an instant. So yeah, Boil's dumb. You just wait till they do something on their turn, and then you cast Boil, then you destroy all their islands, or you do it at the end of their turn, forcing them to counterspell it, right? And then if you got another one in hand, you can do it again on your turn, or any number of ways. If they tap out, destroy all their islands. It's probably one of the biggest hate cards against monocolor ever printed. You've got 2 Wisp Mares to stop enchantment decks, right? Nice thing about Wisp Mare over Clear, which has cycling, is this one you can evoke for 1 white, and then you can slide it, and then it'll come back and do it again. You can keep sliding it, and it'll do it over and over again. Same thing with Ingot Chewer. It's the artifact destroying version, and it does the same thing. So you can evoke it, Astral Slide it, it comes back. You destroyed 2 artifacts, and then you also have a 3/3, and you can keep doing it. Spite Bellows is a creature removal version, so he does 6 damage to a creature. He has Evoke of 3, so you can do similar things with Spite Bellows if they have some big guys that you really need to get rid of. So it's just a 1-of. So that's that deck. So let's see. In a second here, I'll show you a couple games with it, how it plays out.